Hi there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. Welcome to this edition of Integrative Movement Insider. Hope you had a great weekend. And I want to share 3 things with you today. Number 1, something to think about. Number 2, a strategy for working with your clients that have tight hip flexors, because a lot of our clients are experiencing hip tightness because they're sitting more, they're in quarantine, they're not moving around as much. So I want to share with you a very effective and simple strategy for lengthening the hip flexors and differentiating between the psoas and the other superficial hip flexors. And then finally, to invite you to a brand new event that's happening online starting this weekend. First, I want to share a story that really made me think. I have a colleague here in the building with us, and she's in the fitness industry. And last week I said hi to her. It was last Monday morning, actually. And I said, hi, how you doing? How's your weekend? You know, just a sort of casual conversation that you have with a colleague. So I came in here, I was working out, it was kind of quiet, and she comes in. She's like, yeah, you know what? I'm actually not doing so well. You know, I'm having some, I'm having some heart issues. I had to go to the emergency room. My heart dropped really, really low. My heart rate dropped very, very low. And I'm just struggling with, I'm seeing clients online, I'm seeing clients here and there in person, but I'm just struggling with this whole environment and working with clients and just really just feeling sad and anxious. And it made me think, as I listened to her, and then she walked away, she smiled a little bit, and then I saw her today, and she was in, she's still, we chatted a little bit this morning as well. And it just got me thinking about many of you out there and many of our clients out there, because it's easy to get caught up in our own world of my business is struggling. Like, our business is down easily 50% since COVID started. It's easy to look out and say, hey, I have business that is struggling. I have family members that may be struggling with their health, right? Maybe they have COVID, or maybe you can't see them because they're in a high-risk category. Maybe you have family members or friends or community members that actually are struggling as well. A good client of my wife's was just diagnosed with cancer, basically stage 4 cancer. So there's a lot of people struggling with some serious health issues. There was just 50 additional shootings this weekend in Chicago, and if you've been watching TV, you see the violence in Chicago. Like, it's real. Like, my wife and I live on the south side of Chicago. We see it, we experience it. My wife's been held up. We've experienced altercations with our neighbors. Like it's real. This is not made up. This is not exaggerated. This is really going on. So there's oftentimes days where you may be thinking, because I think it too. I'll speak honestly. Like, I think, like, why are we talking about posture and movement and helping people feel better and move better when there's so much going on in our country and in the world? So I thought about my interaction with my colleague and the smile she had when she left versus like just the sadness and anxiety she had when she first came in the room. And it made me think that some of our clients just need you to step up and be that leader, to be that hope, that inspiration, maybe give them that encouraging smile or listening ear, that carrying ear to listen to, and just allow them to vent. And not saying that it's going to be all better because you listened or you smiled or you heard, but maybe that gives them the hope that they need to keep going with their exercise program, to keep going with being a positive role model for their families, for their communities, for their co-workers, for the people that rely upon them. So during this, it's very easy to get down. It's very easy to get depressed and anxious and upset with what's going on. But just remember to be that leader for your clients, for your community, for your family, so that if someone needs you, you're there for them. And obviously, it was a great reminder for me just to make sure that I always step up, to be present, to be aware, and to be that role model for my community, for my family, for my patients that come in here and are looking to me for advice to help them get through their day. So my encouragement to you is you're part of this health and fitness community, and you're already a leader, and you're likely already doing exactly what I'm saying. But just a reminder to keep doing what you're doing, because you are making a difference. Even if people don't reach out and you don't hear from them, you are likely making a huge difference in your clients' lives, even though they may not see you or reach out and tell you directly, but they look forward to hearing from you, to seeing you, to hearing your positive message. And regardless of what your political viewpoint is, try to keep it apolitical, because there's people on both sides, people with different opinions than yours or mine, that they need to hear just some encouraging words and not be bashed or attacked or felt like they're wrong for what they're thinking. So thank you for all you do for your community. Janice and I truly appreciate that and allowing us the opportunity to be part of your community. Now, as we move into part 2 of this video, talking about clients, helping clients address chronic issues that they're experiencing now that they're in quarantine and lockdown. Because so many of our clients come in and say, oh yeah, I got low back pain, hip pain, groin pain, and it must be my psoas, or I've been told by my chiropractor, physical therapist, and or trainer that it's my psoas. And sometimes it is, most often it's not. And when I was researching my book, The Psoas Solution, I looked at all the research out there, and what I found was that the psoas actually isn't a very powerful hip flexor. It attaches to each vertebrae of the spine, including T11, T12, all the lumbar vertebrae, and then it fascially attaches into the diaphragm up here, or I should say in the back, but then the pelvic floor, and it attaches to the front side of the pelvis as well as into the lesser trochanter of the hip joint. Actually, what it does, it's better suited to be a stabilizer of the trunk, spine, pelvis, and hip complex, and then it draws the femoral head up into the socket, so it helps to stabilize the ball and socket joint, so that the superficial, the primary hip flexors, like TFL, this muscle right here, the sartorius, the muscle that runs across your leg to insert into the pes anserin, and the rectus femoris, the prime hip flexors, can do their job more effectively. And when you think about your clients coming in, oh, my hip flexors are so tight, where are they usually pointing? They're not pointing down here deep where the psoas actually lives and originates, or I should say inserts into the lesser trochanter of the femur. They're usually pointing here. When I worked with professional dancers, I should say I still work with professional dancers, but when I was doing that more full time, they would always come in and say, oh, my hip flexors are so tight, and they'd always be banging here, not going in here. So this is more the TFL, and that's where most clients feel hip flexor tightness. Now, what do you do if your client really does have short hip flexors, which some of them actually do? Well, you got to be careful about how you stretch, because many of us have been taught to do one of these stretches where it's here, reaching back, overarching the thoracolumbar junction, which is really just overstretching your abdominal wall and your psoas, which is what you do not want to be doing. What you really want to be doing and helping your client do is lengthen out the front side of their thigh and hip. So I want to share with you a very simple strategy and super effective strategy. Like, your clients will actually feel incredibly better when you teach them this strategy and they use it on a regular basis than their traditional hip flexor stretches, which oftentimes are just creating more problems than they're solving. So the first thing we have to look at is, what is the thoracopelvic cylinder doing during the stretch? Because what happens for a lot of our clients is they get down on the floor like this, and you can see by the line on my shorts, which is why I love wearing these shorts when I'm working out. You see the line on my shorts, is you see it's not level. So then the client is coming up into all these contorted positions, and they're really not aligning or controlling where they're stretching. They're just randomly stretching some stuff, and they may feel a little bit better afterwards, but it's really not helping them create and or maintain a more optimal strategy. So that's why we oftentimes have our clients support themselves on these air pads, AirX type pads, and or a stack of towels, so they can level out their pelvis and align their thoracopelvic cylinder, so they're not overstretching their abdominal wall and or psoas. They're getting the length where they need it. So here's how it looks. First, we always start our clients out with a nice long spine position, align that thoracopelvic cylinder, and maintain this alignment. I'm going to step forward and then put the left knee down, the side I'm lengthening, so that way now my pelvis, if you can see the line on my pelvis, it stays relatively level. So my pelvis is square, and I rotate towards the forward leg so that my pelvis stays square to the forward leg. And now I can lean forward and maintain this position, the pelvis level, lengthening the hip flexor on my left side. I keep a nice long spine, keep that thorax stacked above the pelvis, and now I can do my three-dimensional breathing, so that way I'm reinforcing three-dimensional breathing as I'm doing lengthening of my superficial hip flexors. So from the side, it will look like this. Same idea, long spine, stack the thorax over top the pelvis, step forward, keep the pelvis square up to that forward leg, drop down, keep the TPC, that thoracopelvic cylinder, aligned, stay long, lean forward, reinforce three-dimensional breathing, because your nervous system really likes and will give you more length when you maintain the cylinder, when you maintain that internal pressure regulation, and then you're lengthening at the same time. Similarly, to when you're strengthening. If you maintain this alignment, you maintain the ability to control your TPC and then strengthen your extremities or whatever you're trying to do, even your core strengthening. It's a much more effective strategy, and the nervous system starts to own that position and will give you the length and or strength that you're helping your clients or wanting your clients to achieve. So this is how you maintain it without overarching the back here, that thoracolumbar junction hyperextension. You don't want that, so keep that length, and make sure the pelvis stays neutral, squared up to the forward leg, and that's how you get a super effective lengthening out of the hip flexors. It's very similar when you stretch the hamstrings. It's no different. It's just you use the same concepts but go the opposite direction. And I've demonstrated that on other videos here on our Facebook Live channel. So you can look at our YouTube channel, Fitness Education Seminars, to look at all our archive videos, so that way you can reference that as well. The main concept being maintain alignment of the thoracolpelvic cylinder as you're lengthening either the hip flexors, as we discussed in this video, or the hamstrings and or hip rotators, and you can help your client create a very effective and sustainable strategy for creating and developing length, strength, and stability. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped explain how to lengthen the superficial hip flexors and why you want to differentiate between lengthening the superficial versus the deep hip flexors or the stabilizers like the psoas, and why this is so important to your client's overall strategy, because it will really make a difference in how they feel, how they perform, and ultimately give them the ability to do the things they need to, want to, and love to do. And also, if you're looking for more information, we have a brand new workshop coming up, Glutes and Psoas, where I'll discuss first I'll discuss the functional anatomy of the glutes and psoas, and then how these muscles work collectively to provide stability as well as control around the pelvis, as well as around the thoracolpelvic cylinder and the hip complex. So that way, if your client has chronic hip tightness, it'll give you a strategy to help them lengthen, like we did here today, and we'll also build on and develop strength off this concept as well. So for your clients that have weak glutes that really technically aren't weak glutes, they're actually just a suboptimal strategy that they're using, I'll show you exactly what to do to improve glute function and improve function and synergy between your hip flexors and your hip extensors, and really help your client develop a better posture, movement, and performance strategy. We also have a session on balance and training or improving balance in the older client. That's this Saturday. We have a shoulder session where we'll take you through the assessments, the corrective exercises, and the most effective strengthening strategies for the shoulder complex. If you work with clients that have shoulder issues, that's this Saturday, and then next Saturday is the glutes and psoas. I'm going to put the link, I should say Mary will put the link next to this video, above or below or next to it, depending on where you're watching it, so that way you can get access to this brand new online workshop, DCAC Fitness Events. Super excited to be part of their first online event this coming weekend and the following weekend. So this is Dr. Evan Osar. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your journey, part of your community. Thank you for allowing us to share this information and passing it on to your clients, so that way you can be the resource for your current clients and attract more individuals that need, want, will pay you for your expertise. Make it a great day. Go out there and empower your clients, and we will get through this stronger and more resilient. Take care.